It's been a week, and it's still August 1963. Chad and his team had been stressed out this past week, as the deadline of their task was coming today, set by their blackmailer. They have been going back and forth with ideas, but they have to make a decision now. Chad said, "Well, what do you think we should do? We are running out of time." Mr. Lawless said, "Alpha must do the task. There's no choice. The consequences of not doing this are too severe." Gloria said, "That decision is for Alpha to make. Alpha, have you come to a decision regarding what you will do?" Alpha said, "The Alpha has thought about it, and as painful and unfortunate it will be to see the great Alpha Guru fall off, it must be done for the team. The Alpha will complete the task." Alpha said, "The Alpha has come to tell of something that the Alpha regrets to have to tell. Look, the Alpha is not what it seems like. The Alpha is in reality gay, likes dick up his ass, and only started to speak like you have seen, to get the incel community on board with the administration, also for clout and such. This will be the last broadcast you will see of the Alpha with speeches for the incels and losers." Then President Chad had a meeting with two presidents from two other planets in the solar system. They were President Gonda from Bonder and President Submissio from planet Doge Prime. Chad said, "Thank you for coming here. It's been a good time discussing our affairs with you. The trade has been good, and it's nice to hear that President Wugu from planet Ouija has agreed to negotiate a trading system with us." Gonda said, "Indeed, it is a pleasure. It is very important for us to have good relations and a good network in the solar system." President Submissio jerked off and said, "I indeed am excited. Chad's bouncy booty keeps me hungry for more discussions. I was so excited to come here today for our little date, hee hee." President Gonda said, "Look, we appreciate that you join these, but it is not appropriate to talk like this and disrespecting Chad. Please keep it diplomatic." President Submissio said, "I am in love with you. I jerk off to you 10 times a day, but you do not answer to my love. To make us official, you will broadcast a message to your people that we are together as a couple from now on, and that we had steamy hot sex in your office. If you do not do this, I will nuke your planet. You know I have nukes. Don't risk it. Instead, love me, baby." Chad knew that he had no choice but to go with what he said. He knows how mentally unstable and crazy President Submissio is, and he is not going to risk all of his people for a fear of embarrassment. So he stepped in front of the camera and started to broadcast to television. Chad said, "Good day, my people. I am here to make a quick announcement. I am happy to announce that I am now officially in a love relationship with President Submissio from the planet Doge Prime. We had steamy sex in my office today at the mansion and made it official. Hopefully you can respect this and be mature about it. That is all. Thank you for your time." The newscaster said, "Again, new controversy has risen to the surface involving President Chad, as today he announced on television planet-wide that he is in a homosexual relationship with the president of Doge Prime. This revelation has caused a massive backlash online, some calling him the Antichrist, some calling him the worst president of all times, some calling him the zestiest president ever. On the other hand, this has also spawned a massive wave of fan art to flood the internet of the two presidents." Then it was time for this week's segment of Joe's Cooking Show. Joe said, "Welcome to this week's episode of Joe's Educational Cooking Adventures. This time we learn a new recipe that you may have not tried yet, but should. We will be baking a pizza as normal, but we will spill molten chocolate on top of it, and we will put pieces of bananas in the sauce. Let's start then, folks." Then an interviewer came to interview Angelica and Cherry for television about their child Griffin, who had gone missing. The interviewer said, "As you both know, we have all followed this story with broken hearts, as much as it brings the people entertainment and money for us. Now, how are you holding up? Is there still hope? Or is your baby dead?" Cherry said, "How dare you ask a question like that? Of course we are desperately trying to hold on to the hope that he is still alive out there. From time to time, I can feel him. I have to believe he is somewhere alive, hopefully somewhere where he is safe, and I hope that the searching continues till he is found." The interviewer said, a truly heartbreaking story for the masses. But do you reckon this story could sell? Imagine the money you could make. I heard of a deal that will be presented to you about turning the real-life event into a movie about a baby being kidnapped and raised in the ghetto. Angelica said, come on, honey, let's go. This is really disrespectful and inappropriate. The interview is over. Then Dewey accidentally started to broadcast the television, accidentally leaking a conversation to the television that was not meant to be heard. Mr. Lawless said, oh man, these people are stupid. They believe everything you say to them like sheep. The other guys didn't believe in the manipulation tactics, but see where it got us, in the office. Following this incident, hell broke loose. People were furious about being insulted like that on television by the administration and started to question how many lies they have been told. Chad's support has now dropped more than any other president's support in history. To damage control, Mr. Lawless stepped into the office in front of the camera and broadcasted an apology to the television. Mr. Lawless said, my dear followers and supporters of Chad, as you have seen, a tragic, unprecedented incident and tragedy has happened earlier that not only has sunken the heart of Chad, but also everyone else in the team, especially me. The broadcast was an incident, started by a toddler accidentally, which captured a moment when me and my colleague Kaedix happened to roleplay. What we said does not reflect reality and should not be taken seriously, as we were merely playing a fantasy game of pretend. Please see the good in this situation. Like, isn't it funny that a 2-year-old was the sole cause of all of this drama? Let's all lay back and laugh at the unpredictable nature of our children, as laugh is what we need, not drama. Then Demonica and Pal sent another letter to the mansion for the next task. Chad said, we received a new letter, which seems to refer to Mr. Lawless's broadcast earlier today. The letter demands that Mr. Lawless comes clean about his lying and manipulating tactics on a broadcast. Shit, the letter states that the deadline is in 4 hours. Gloria said, shit, this is gonna destroy us. Our public image is already in ruins. This is really bad. Well, I guess this is your call, Mr. Lawless. Mr. Lawless said, well, I guess I have no choice. That sneaky motherfucker. I will, however, try to soften the blow a bit. Should have some tricks for that, pulling the heartstrings a bit. Mr. Lawless said, in this day of tragedy, with a wave of emotions, I have come to confess something for you, my dear viewers. I appreciate you very much, so doing this is really important to me. I couldn't hold it inside any longer, so I have come to confess that yes, I have been lying and manipulating you. It is not your fault for being stupid, but my fault for thinking I am not enough and that I need to promise more that I can offer. I give sincere apologies for the harm I have caused. However, my actions do not reflect the rest of the team or Chad. This problem is solely mine, and I take full responsibility. Now all I can do is get help and get better.